Hey, my friend, and welcome to Aligned to Rise, the podcast for ambitious women who are ready to rise above their symptoms, release old limitations, and fully rise into their true power and potential. I'm your host, Alyssa Chavez, functional nutritionist, performance coach, and former endo and infertility warrior who knows what it's like to feel held back by your body and your beliefs. I've taken a journey of true healing from the inside out so that I can show up feeling great in my body, confident and unstoppable. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Through a blend of functional nutrition and deep mindset work, this show will empower you to reclaim your vitality, trust your intuition, and live unapologetically in your purpose. If you're ready to align your body, mind, and spirit so you can rise to your highest potential, you're in the right place. Let's rise, my friend. This show was created for educational purposes only and should not be used as a replacement for medical advice or treatment. Hey, my friend. I wanted to just pop in a quick little disclaimer before you dive into this episode. Now, this is something that I see often is the phrase trigger warning. And I always find this to be so interesting because on my infertility journey, I personally have found it a lot more triggering to hear about baby showers and cute little toddlers and babies and people talking about their pregnancies and birth stories and all of the things. But I did want to share that in this episode, you will be hearing about topics such as pregnancy loss, infertility, and pregnancy. So what I invite you to do is simply to take care of yourself. Listen to this if it feels in alignment with you, and if not today, that's okay too, my friend. But my purpose here is to really spread a message of hope and possibility for you. So if it feels in alignment with you to take a moment to listen to this, I hope that you do and enjoy it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hey, my friend, and welcome back to the podcast. You are in for a very special episode today, because I'm going to be sharing my own story, which I know is going to resonate with so many of you, because I have been on an 8-year-long fertility journey, 8 years, and I have a special surprise for you all. So I'm going to just dig right into my story, and you'll just have to wait and hear the special surprise. So let's dive in. So rewind back to 2020, which, let's be real, was everybody's favorite year. But it really was a favorite year for me for so many reasons. Because at that point in time, I finished out 2020 just spending every single day taking a shower in the morning, getting out of the shower, sitting down in my walk-in closet and just crying every single day from the weight of everything that was going on around me. Because at that point in time, I had just finished my second round of IVF, and unfortunately, I did get pregnant at that point in time, but then unfortunately had a miscarriage. And for anybody who's been down the infertility road, having difficulty getting pregnant, although I'm sure this really is true for anybody who experiences loss, it's a heavy weight. I remember just feeling so incredibly devastated. I truly felt like it maybe wasn't something I could even come back from. I was feeling hopeless and lost and stuck. And to top off the challenge of struggling with miscarriage, I was at the same time struggling with daily pain from endometriosis. I was going through financial struggles because 2020 happened, and my husband and I at the time had a brick and mortar business that really took a hit during that time, and we both were having some ups and downs with our health, and it really just gave me this feeling of just despair and heaviness and really questioning what my life was going to be looking like in the future. So let me rewind a little bit. just so that I can really paint a picture for you of how I even got to that point in time. So my husband and I got married in 2017. We had already been together for years. We were full of hope and just ready to go ahead and start a family right away. So my plan was we would get married and then just have a honeymoon baby and everything would be amazing. I came off birth control even a little bit before the wedding so that I could be prepared and ready for that. And what happened along with that? Well, I had gained some weight. I was having crazy breakouts. I remember getting ready for my wedding day and having acne on my face and even on my chest and shoulders, which I didn't love, shockingly. And I was having those intensely painful periods. I didn't actually even know yet at the time that I had endometriosis. But what I did know is that I was having periods that were so incredibly painful that it would knock me down for days at a time. I'm talking, I couldn't physically stand up straight. I physically couldn't because there was so much just cramping and pain in my abdomen. I really couldn't even walk very well. I mean, I remember it being super challenging just to go from my living room to my kitchen, much less if I actually had to walk up the stairs of my own house. I literally would walk up, or I should really say crawl up maybe a few stairs, and then I would just have to sit down and close my eyes and just breathe for several minutes before I could get up and even attempt to walk up more stairs. I mean, it was really intensely painful. And what ended up happening is we got married, we had our honeymoon, no pregnancy. And next thing we know, a year slid by, and then another year slid by. And I was just watching these moments go by. And so I decided first, I've always been kind of more holistically minded. So I first reached out to an acupuncturist in my area who specialized in fertility. And I went to her for a while. And then about a year after that, so this is now 3 years into our fertility journey, or I think 2 years when I initially saw the fertility doctor. And we were recommended just to go straight into IVF, which was very shocking and overwhelming and certainly came with a hefty price tag, which was a lot for us. But I just felt like I didn't have any other option. That fertility doctor had helped me to pinpoint that my intense pain that I had going on was probably from endometriosis. And she said basically that you really just need to go right into IVF. So my husband and I, really wanting to have a family, we'd already been trying for 3 years and just weren't having success. We decided we were just going to dive in. So January of 2020, great timing, I know, we committed to IVF. We ended up having our egg retrieval in February of 2020. And then, of course, our transfer ended up being delayed because COVID rocked the world. And so we ended up finally having our first transfer in June of 2020, which didn't take. The embryo simply didn't stick. And so we tried one more time. We had another transfer in September of 2020. And we were overjoyed at that point to find out that it was successful, that I actually was pregnant. And we felt at that point in time, we were overjoyed. I mean, the amount of tears, happy tears that were flooding down our face was just amazing. We were so incredibly happy and really just felt like all our problems were solved. We did it. We got pregnant. We made it. And since we had been through IVF, we were already doing progesterone injections, which if you've ever had this before, it's not very fun. It's a very large needle that goes into your bum every single day. Doesn't feel great, but we continued that all the way to 12 weeks of gestation as recommended by the doctor. And just, again, we celebrated at that point in time. I remember that day when we did the last shot, we went out after work and we got some cake and had a little mini celebration because we really felt like we had made it. And then just a couple days later, after finishing those injections, I started bleeding. And I kind of had an inkling right away what was happening, but I reached out to my midwife. She recommended that I go to get an ultrasound, which I did. and confirmed what I had suspected, which is that we had lost the baby. And in our case, it actually, the embryo had stopped developing at about 8 weeks. It ended up being a missed miscarriage because we were continuing these progesterone injections. So it was kind of falsely keeping the pregnancy going. And needless to say, we were devastated. It was incredibly heartbreaking. The grief, the devastation, the disbelief, having to reach out to our families and let them know what happened was such a huge challenge, and just so many emotions running through us. And then also, I was still kind of going through the repercussions of all of the IVF medications that I had been on. I had been pumped with hormones for all these months. I had actually even been on a medication for a short period of time called Lupron. This was before I had done the transfer, that basically completely stopped me having a period altogether for a couple of months. So it was like having a mini menopause, complete with hot flashes and everything. And I really felt like I was going through all of that for a reason. And then I just felt like somebody had dropped my heart on the floor and it just shattered into 1,000 pieces. I really felt like there's just no way that I can come back from this. This is too much. I can't do this. I can't handle this. I'm going to just turn over the the keys to my life. Somebody else take over. I can't do it anymore. And so we turned our backs. We walked away completely from IVF, from the fertility doctor we were working with, and really from just the fertility scene altogether. We were in a place where we were devastated, we were heartbroken, we were dealing with grief, and at the same time, we were stuck with this huge bill that seemed insurmountable, and we also didn't have anything to show for it. And our business had been struggling at the time, so it's not like we had tons of extra cash to throw around. There were just so many layers to it. And I was still struggling with pain and exhaustion. Fatigue was such a major thing. And all of this just collided all at one time at the end of 2020. And it was I made that decision in the moment of I can't live this way anymore. I can't do this anymore. I need something else. I need something different. So after taking some time to pause and heal physically, mentally, emotionally, as much as was possible, I decided to go ahead and take my health into my own hands. I was tired of just blindly listening to what the doctors were saying and not really understanding what was going on in my body. I was tired of feeling like there was nothing that I could do about what was happening in my body. I was feeling terrible. I was at this point 30 years old and felt like I was 80 years old. I just was feeling so incredibly low in so many ways. And so I started out by making just some simple dietary and lifestyle changes. Those were really my first steps. And through that, I had my first signs of hope. My periods became less painful. I had less pain on a day-to-day basis. I started getting a little energy back in my body again. I felt like I could live life and do things. And I started to realize, wow, this is super powerful stuff. I want to learn more about this, and I want to help other people learn more about this. There's so many people in the world who need to hear this message also. So I decided to get myself in education. I started enrolling in programs in all things nutrition and functional training so that I could run labs and learn all the tools, all the things to be able to help myself and help other people. So I enrolled in multiple trainings and programs and worked with various mentors and teachers, just learned all the things. And I started applying everything that I was learning to myself. I was running labs on myself. I was changing up my diet and lifestyle and making so many positive changes to my health. And what happened is over the next several years, and I say years just because it took time for me to get this education and learn all the things that I needed to learn. My timeline does not need to be your timeline. But for me, it was the next several years of going from that debilitating couch-bound pain, not being able to work or go upstairs or any of the things that I really wanted to do, to then being able to have completely pain-free periods, having energy, feeling alive again, being able to really build the business that I wanted to have, being able to help other people and share everything that I was learning. I did have an endometriosis excision surgery along the way as part of this healing phase, just so that I could physically remove the disease from my body, kind of hit reset, be able to start fresh, so to speak. And amongst all of that, I was so incredibly shocked to see that I was able to get to periods that were completely pain-free. I truly didn't think that was possible for me. And getting to that point, I felt so much hope. I felt so much joy, and just, it allowed me to just open up to the possibilities. And I was so happy. I was in such a better place in my life, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of the things. But there was still that one lingering thing. After all these years, I still wasn't getting pregnant. I still wasn't able to live out the dream of becoming a mom. I remember back when, this would have been 11 years ago now, at the time that I'm recording this, my sister gave birth to my nephew. And getting to hold him for the first time as an infant, as a baby, I remember the moment when I knew I wanted to be a mom, where it just, everything clicked together, and I just felt, yes, this is what I want. This is my dream, is to become a mom. And that child is now 11 years old. Just started middle school, as a matter of fact. And I also felt, if I'm honest, some level of imposter syndrome. I am here helping people with their health and seeing a lot of positive results. I saw so many of my clients get out of pain, or at least have decreased pain and symptoms, having more energy, having less digestive symptoms. I didn't even talk about that. I had all of the bloating and just issues with digestion, all the things. And I saw so much positive change, both in myself and in clients that I was working with over the years. But especially when somebody would come to me struggling with fertility, I found myself not even really wanting to talk about it. I felt like I had my health back, but not my dream. So, fast forward to early 2025. A friend of mine recommended a program that she had joined, and basically the word she told me is that it had been life-changing for her. And I just thought, well, that certainly can't hurt. I was going through some stressful times at that point in time, and again, was still struggling with fertility even after all these years. And I just felt like, is it really true that this is not possible for my body? It just doesn't feel like that can be true. I'm so healthy. So many positive changes have happened. It must be possible for me to get pregnant. So I dove in. Early 2025, I decided to dive in. I wanted to learn all of these things. What is really going on? And so really what I was learning was uncovering emotional blocks, some of those emotions that we store in our bodies that just we hold on to for years and years and years, and limiting beliefs. And the work that I was really doing was learning to peel back the layers of anger and sadness and hurt and fear and all of these emotions that can really hold us back from doing the things that we want to do, and that can be physical or things that you're trying to do as far as relationships and family and career even, all of the things. And so I started doing all of this work and started noticing a difference. And so then in June of 2025, I decided to attend a retreat. And through that was really peeling back the layers of these emotional blocks, these limiting beliefs that were holding me back, these things that I was holding on to from my entire life, but definitely from my years of going through infertility. And I felt myself feeling lighter, feeling freer, like something was shifting inside. And then I went back home, and just a few weeks later, I was supposed to have a period. I had a little bit of spotting, but my period didn't come. And at this point in time, where my periods used to be fairly irregular and all over the place, my periods have been quite regular. So I knew there was something going on. And next thing I knew, I finally had that positive pregnancy test. 1 week after returning home from this retreat and really digging into all of the emotional things going on, in addition to all of the work that I've done through nutrition and the functional labs and really getting to the root cause physically of what was going on in my body, after 8 years against all the odds, after all of the doctors told me that I really probably would not be able to get pregnant without any sort of assistance. At the age of 36, when they tell you that fertility is declining and it makes it even more challenging to get pregnant, I conceived naturally and, quite frankly, easily. And now baby Chavez is due March of 2026. So that was my little surprise, in case you were wondering. And just, it's hard to really express the deep joy that I feel, the gratitude just for everybody who's been a part of this journey, everybody who's helped me along the way, everybody who's cheered me on, everybody who's helped me up when I've been at my lowest. But through all of these methods, I have been able to go from despair to hope, from pain to healing, and from infertility to carrying a new life in my body. And that is such an incredible blessing. And it was such a beautiful reminder to me that true healing isn't just physical. It's not just about what you eat and what you put in your body and what you do with your body. True healing is about your mind and your emotions and your spirit. And when I finally let all of that click together, that's when I was able to open myself up to the possibilities. I was told during that week at the retreat in June, I was told to expect miracles. Well, my friend, this is a miracle if I've ever seen one. So cheers to Rainbow Baby coming your way March of 2026. More details to come as I find them out. Definitely find me on Instagram at aligned.2 as in to.rise and follow my journey. I'm happy to share all the things. But to the woman out there who is listening to this and maybe is in her own closet era, her own period of time of just feeling like the weight of the world is pushing her down, and you feel like you are absolutely at that lowest moment. You're feeling that pain and that grief and all of the emotions that can come with struggles in your life, whether it be with fertility or something else. I want to remind you that healing is possible, that our bodies are capable of miracles even when all of the odds seem like they're against you. So my friend, if this story resonates with you in any way, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out, shoot me a message, share your story with me. Really, truly, I'd love to hear it, because it has now become my life's passion, my life's work to share this with the world. So in my practice, I work with clients in supporting all of the physical things, of course, the nutrition and lifestyle and all of the choices. These were the things that made such a huge difference for me early on in my journey. Going through the mindset piece, these emotional blocks that can hold us back. Because one of those things might be the missing piece for your puzzle, just like it was for mine. So I hope that this story, this journey brings you some hope in your own life, in your own story, in your own journey. And my friend, I can't wait to connect with you, hear more about you. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And if you're listening to this and you're feeling like you know somebody in your life who would just love to hear this story, share it with them. Take a moment to share this on your social media or just send it to a friend who you know will resonate with it. Because the more that we can spread this message of just hope and possibility and that there are options out there besides maybe what we already are aware of, I think that is such a beautiful message for the world. All right, my friend, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I can't wait to connect again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to Aligned to Rise. If this episode spoke to you, take a moment to share it with a friend who needs this message too. And then don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'll see you next time, my friend. Let's rise together.